Well, if you've been following along on the channel for any length of time, you've almost certainly heard me mention things like the importance of carrying a day pack or a bag of some sort with you, some emergency supplies, some essential emergency supplies when you're going out for a hike in the wilderness, whether that's the desert, the forest, mountains, whatever it may be. You're off the beaten path, you're away from people, you may not have cell phone service. That's always great when it works, but sometimes it doesn't work. And lots of reasons you can end up out in the wilderness longer than you planned. Whether that's an injury, an illness, a hike just taking longer than expected, getting lost, losing the trail, whatever. So I thought today I'd share the things I carry in my pack, my day pack, my bag that I carry on any hike longer than, for example, a walk around a city park where I know I have phone service and I might just bring a bottle of water. So let's take a look at what I got in my bag. Alright, it's a little cool and windy outside today, so I'll come inside to record the rest of this video, show you what's in my hiking bag. Real quick before we dive into that, photo calendars. I do have, I think, 2 or 3 photo calendars left for the year, so if you're interested in one of them, you can grab it at my website, robertwitham.com. Also have a brand new offer available. I've been wanting this for a couple of years. I have some photo greeting cards. The first set is from Wyoming. Those are on my website as well. Again, robertwitham.com if you want to check those out. All right, so what's in my hiking bag and what do I bring with me when I go hiking? First off, a couple of things aren't necessarily in the bag. The one is a walking stick. This is handy for lots of reasons. My youngest son Jake actually made this for me after a mishap I had while hiking, climbing around on a mountain in central Arizona a few years ago. He decided I needed a hiking stick, which is not a bad idea. I was out exploring, ended up on a scree slope on a steep section of mountain and ended up taking a tumble and got banged up and bruised a little. Ended up banged up my cell phone. So ever since then, I've had, well, not since long after that, I've had a hiking stick. That does help out for lots of reasons. One time, this happens on occasion, but I have chronic back issues, and one occasion I was hiking the Absaroka Beartooth Wilderness in central Montana. Lovely, lovely country, but very remote, no cell signal at all, and the trail's pretty rocky and rough, and I went further than I planned on. As I started back, I was trying to hurry so I'd get back before dark, and my back was going out on me bad, and I literally couldn't stand upright. So I thought for sure I was going to be spending the night out in the Absaroka Beartooth Wilderness. I did have a day pack with some basic supplies, so I could have weathered the situation without too much difficulty. But I finally found a broken tree branch, a dead tree branch that was adequate to use as a walking stick, and that did get me out. So that's something I always bring. I also always bring my cell phone. Sometimes I don't have cell phone service, sometimes I do. A lot of times if you don't have service, if you're able to, if you can climb up a mountain or a ridge, a hill, you may be able to catch a signal to get help if you need it. But I also use this for some offline things like Gaia Maps, for example, and some other features that I can use offline. It's also my backup camera. I don't always bother carrying the big camera. And the one I'm recording on now, actually, my Fujifilm mirrorless, and so I use this a lot. I use this far more than I use the Fuji because it's always in my pocket, so I always take that along also for photos and videos. And one more thing I don't have in my bag yet, but I need to get is a headlamp, torch, as those of you over in the UK would say. This one, I just bring it with me now. I have a big mag light in the van, and then I have this lamp. This is my all-around camp headlamp, but I do need to get one that just stays in the day pack, so I don't have to worry about forgetting it. And this one runs on AAA batteries. When I get one for the bag, which will happen soon, it's going to be a rechargeable one, and you'll see why in a bit. But the key is I don't have to worry about carrying spare batteries. I can recharge it in the field if I need to. And then one other thing I don't have in my bag right now that is on my list is a personal locator, beacon, or satellite communication device of some sort. again, that's kind of the emergency thing where all else fails and you have no signal and you absolutely have to call for help. But if that day ever occurred, I definitely would want that available. So, all right, dive into the bag. I used to have a smaller one. I got rid of it because it didn't fit my camera gear that I have these days. But this one is just a cheap bag from Walmart. It's nothing fancy. It's also a little bigger than I need because it's, supply shortages of everything. The choice was a bag that was a little too small or one that was a little too big. So I went with one that was a little too big. One of the things you'll notice on the side here, I have a water bottle. There are 2 side compartments on this thing for water bottles. I always carry 2 water bottles, even if I think I'm only going to need one. This side, depending on what I'm carrying, I can either put the second water bottle or my camera tripod, which I can't show you because the camera's sitting on it right now, fits in here and straps down. So then in that case, the extra water bottle goes inside. I do sometimes use a hydration bladder. I'm more of a fan of water bottles. If I'm going on a longer hike or I want to carry more water, I do use a hydration bladder too. So I've got a few things in here that I just carry, and they're broken down into bags, so it's easy to find stuff. And I just carry these all the time when I'm going for, like I said, anything more than a walk around a park, a city park or something. I'm going to carry basic supplies. Almost never do I need these things, but on the times that I do or that I might, it's good to have them. And you've seen me mention this a lot of times when I'm covering different news stories about people who get themselves in trouble or worse out hiking in unforgiving terrain, and they're just miles from anything with no phone service. Then something goes wrong, and they aren't able to manage that because they didn't bring some basic gear with them. So, well, a few things I carry. Let's see. This is just a Comfort One Repel mosquito wipes. They're in a Ziploc bag. I use Ziploc bags quite a bit in packing for hiking and stuff. This is just to keep it from leaking into the pack, and I just find these more convenient than carrying bug spray. I don't use it a ton, but if you happen to get in somewhere where the bugs are just awful, it's nice to have that available. It weighs almost nothing, and it's just always in the bag. Inside the main compartment of the bag, which is fairly voluminous, I have an emergency first aid kit. Includes like hand sanitizer, Benadryl cream. That's maybe not life and death, but if you ever get stung or bit up by mosquitoes or into something itchy while you're out, that's nice to have. Some triple antibiotic ointment, some gauze and bandages, bleed stop, powder, tape. Just a really very basic medical kit that, if you get yourself a nasty cut or a blister or and something like that while you're out miles from anywhere, that can be a problem if you don't have a way to take care of it. So, it weighs almost nothing and just at least gives me some basics to hold me over till I get back to the van. Now I have 2 other main bags that are dry bags, stuff bags that are always in here. They're slightly different sizes, and off the top of my head, I forget which one is which right now, but they're there. Okay, so this one I have, again, extra Ziploc bags. This is great. These are the large gallon size ones. In case I get caught in a rainstorm, not expecting, I can put my phone or my camera in the Ziploc and keep it dry. Or if I have, other things like trash, if I need to carry something out. Water filter. This is just a little one. I have a bigger one in the van that actually is the bag one. I think it's 4 or 5 liters or something. You can fill up and hang and drain into your water bottle. I don't carry that one hiking unless I'm going for a long hike where I really expect to need it. I carry more water than I think I'm going to need, and then this is kind of my emergency, in a pinch thing. It doesn't weigh much. Paper towels, handy for lots of stuff. Little cotton washcloth, again, handy for lots of things. Some smaller Ziplocs. This is sort of like the kitchen type bag, I guess. And a couple of silicone collapsible cups. I've never used these in the field hiking, but, if you need to filter water or something, this could beat laying on, depending on the situation. That could be handy. You can also use them for drinks or whatever you brought with you. Okay, so those are just some, again, it weighs very little, and it's just a, in case everything goes wrong type of bag, but it does have some practical applications for less emergency situations as well. This one is the bigger one is all emergency shelter type stuff. Little 5x7 tarp that folds up real small and weighs, nothing. This is not. I mean, if you think of probably by default, you think of inclement weather if you're stuck in rain or snow. But if you're stuck in the desert on a hot day, this could be literally a life-saving tool, being able to generate shade because there's very little shade in the desert. So if you can rig it with your tarp, the tarp with your hiking pole or with some brush, or we have like Palo Verde trees and things, so you may be able to rig up something. This is a little bivy Sol Escape light. I've used this as a sleeping bag liner in the past. I've never had to use it as an emergency shelter, but again, it weighs nothing, and it does make a difference if you end up stuck outside overnight. It could help you at least avoid freezing, if not staying comfortable anyway. And let's see, a couple more things in here. I have a couple of Mylar space blankets. Again, you can combine those with like the bivy, and you can make a difference. You can combine them with the tarp or get better heat reflection or heat retention. Paracord, that's always a good thing to have. So you can tie off tarps or all kinds of other things. And this one's a little bit of a luxury item, but it's a thermal space blanket type thing. It's a lot heavier than the Mylar ones. It's silver on one side and bright orange on the other. I'm not going to unfold it because I'll probably never get it back in the bag. Again, in an emergency, that can make a difference. This kit, the emergency shelter kit, is a little bit heavier than the others, but it's not bad. The bag itself, is fairly light. I mean, for a cheap bag, it's not as light as a better, more expensive hiking backpack would be. And if I was doing a lot of backcountry stuff, a long day trip, a multi-day trips, I would want a better quality bag to be less likely to fail, hopefully. But for what I'm doing, this meets my needs, and it's cheap and it's fairly light. Now, like I said, all this stuff together, combine it, it doesn't weigh nothing, but it doesn't weigh much either. It weighs less than the water I'm going to carry, for example. And so another thing I don't have in the bag right now, I always carry food when I'm hiking. I'm out of them right now, but usually I have a half dozen like Power bars or Cliff bars or something, or some trail mix that I keep in the bag all the time, so I don't even have to think about it when I go out for a hike. It's not, if I'm planning on needing to eat when I'm out, I bring food in addition, but that's just like an emergency thing, so I don't have to think about it. I know I've got it. One of the reasons I went for a bigger bag is to make room for camera gear. I just couldn't quite fit it in the smaller bag I used to have. So this is my bag I use to carry my mirrorless camera and accessories. It's got divider compartments in it. This was actually originally a sling bag. The sling was terrible, so I cut the straps off, and I just use this as my camera organizer pouch to go into the backpack. And this fits very nicely in that backpack. It fits perfectly in the opening and lays flat, just like so. If you're a landscape photographer, I mean, some people shoot just with iPhone, but there are some limitations to that. Believe me, I'm waiting for the day when I think I can get away with it. But this carries my camera stuff. So what you see, most camera bags are just carry a camera and your accessories. You don't have room for much of anything else. There's a few on the market now. Shimoto makes one of them that are, the main body has all your camera stuff with the inserts and everything, and then there's plenty of room to carry an extra jacket or other things like that. The other thing photographers do, they're expensive. They're pushing $400 for the bag, and then you have to buy the insert separately for whatever insert you want. So you're going to spend, $400 or $500 on that bag. The other thing a lot of nature photographers do is use a regular backpack, especially those who are doing longer trips. Pack in whatever you want there, and then you use an insert like this or something similar to store your camera stuff in the bag. It's padded. When you stop and you see a scene you want to photograph, you take your backpack off, take this out, and you're all set to go. Of course, that's not as fast as whipping out your iPhone, so I still end up doing that a lot of times. The other thing that I sometimes take hiking is the drone, and again, that fits in here nicely. So that was the big reason for the upgrade in the bag. There's a larger bag, was to carry the digital mirrorless camera and the drone. One other thing I have in here that I forgot to show you before is, there you go, trail side or emergency power. So what I've got here is a portable, foldable solar panel that has USB outputs on it, and I have on this side an Anchor. I think these are both Anchor battery pack that's capable of recharging my cell phone 2 or 3 times. It can also recharge my camera, my drone, other stuff like that. And then I carry a couple little bags in here with cables. They have a USB-C to USB-C, USB-A to USB-C, and there's a micro USB. So basically, the 3 or 4 most popular cables that I might need for any of my devices are in this bag as well. For most people, this is very much personal what you want to carry based on your situation. For most people, just a battery bank will be fine because that's going to allow you to recharge your phone in an emergency. I have, however, not a lot, but I have, however, had occasion to use my portable solar panel when I ended up on a long hike and the camera batteries or the phone battery was getting depleted from shooting a lot. I could take this thing out when I want to break, set it out in the sun, plug things in, and recharge them. It has 2 ports on it, so I can recharge 2 devices at a time. So it's handy. Not everybody needs that, but it is something that's useful for me. As far as an emergency thing, this would probably only come in if you were stuck for multiple days. Then you'd be able to recharge things. And I like that, knowing that I have that, if that ever happened. But if you're stuck for an overnight or something, you just can't get off the trail in time, or you're waiting for some help, just the battery bank is probably going to be what you need. I can also recharge the battery bank with this panel as well. So that's just given my situation, carrying both devices makes sense. This weighs probably as much or close to as much as everything else in the thing together between the panel and the battery bank, but it gives me peace of mind and makes sure that I can recharge things while I'm hiking if I'm shooting a lot and running things down. But that's what I carry. Like I said, very much personalized, but I do think a kit like this can keep you out of a lot of trouble. Make sure you have water and make sure you have food, even if you don't think you're going to need either one. A water filter is essential in case you need to stay out longer than you plan. And this thing, this little straw thing, it weighs nothing. It takes up very little room, but it could save your life if you need water. You're not going to go very long in the wilderness without water, especially in hot weather. So it's very important to be able to get water. I'll try and put links to as many of these things as I can find links for in the video description if you want to check them out and learn more. So the only other things I might put in there is, depending on the weather and how far I'm going and things, I might often throw a jacket in there or a warm shirt or something in the bag. I got plenty of room for it. And again, that's not something that weighs much. And if inclement weather is a good possibility, I might throw some rain gear in there as well. But that's going to be a little bit weather dependent and how long I might be out. And usually, I'll just tell you, usually when I get myself in trouble, it's because I start off for a short hike or to go explore something and then find something else interesting and then something else interesting. And then before I know it, I've gone far further than I had intended to. So I find it just makes sense to bring some basic stuff. If I keep it always in the bag, I don't have to think about it. I just grab my bag when I'm going for a walk and it's got what I need, excepting if I'm planning on needing food or if I decide I want to bring the big camera or drone, something like that. So I hope that was helpful, seeing what I carry and why I carry it, and maybe it fills in some questions you may have had when you hear me mention always carrying a day pack with me when I go out hiking. Depending on where you're hiking, of course, you may want to consider carrying bear spray. Some people carry paper maps. I don't, because I always have my iPhone that has offline GPS with good maps available for me. Gaia GPS is the app I use most these days, but I use others as well. And I've also developed a degree of proficiency with orienteering, paying attention to landmarks and things so I can find my way out without needing to rely on a compass or a GPS, because I know where I'm going. I know what the landscape is I'm traveling through. So, all right, so hopefully that was helpful, and at least found some entertainment in seeing what I carry, if nothing else. And like I said, I'll put links for as many things as I can find links for in the video description, or equivalent if I can't find the exact thing, because some of these are several years old. My Anchor battery pack and Anchor solar panel, for example, I got as part of a review I did on them, and I think that was 3 years ago probably, so there's probably newer and better stuff on the market. But that works still for my needs. So thanks for joining this video, everyone. I hope you found it useful. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. And if you carry a bag like this too, maybe smaller, there's a good chance it's smaller, but because you're not carrying camera gear and drones and stuff. But if you do, leave me a comment and let me know what stuff you consider essential in your everyday carry bag for hiking and adventuring. Thanks for joining me for this video, everybody. We'll catch you in the next one.